recording. No, Ashley just did not come with a ball that I can sit on. It just came with this.
You're missing out. You bought the wrong model then.
Yeah,
that's the better model.
It does have some scary, like, what is this attachment? Looks painful.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this, George.
Add that into.
It might be something. It might be good, but if you get that, that's the last time I go to the attic to do a podcast.
So I'm gonna put this up to 20. Look at this. Hear that?
Oh my god.
I feel like they're actually more effective when they're fast like that. Like I think that then it doesn't quite.
Oh, it's like it scares me. You can only. There's a warning on here. It's like if you use this for more than an hour, you have to like put it in the freezer. Nah, you have to like cool it down. It's funny. All right, on to more important things. Tyler, we're here with Ashley Russo, of a lot of things. And how about you introduce yourself? I know you're with the Peak TV, but there's other stuff as well. But obviously, the Peak TV.
I don't know. I first, as a home, I'm wife and mother, so that's one title. President of ASR Media, so been doing that 8 or 9 years now, which is awesome in Hellertown. We have a show, the Peak TV, so pretty much enjoy that. Also do a podcast. You've been a guest, Unscripted with Russo.
Maybe Tyler. You have to put Tyler on there.
And a little unknown fact about me is, sorry, Tyler. Sorry. Next time. Little unknown fact is I'm also the chief operating officer of a manufacturing facility in Dallas, Texas, which is a family business. So in my side life, I do that.
What do you manufacture there?
We actually coat the parts that make things. So they are synergistic coatings that go on the metal parts that make stuff. So for example, right now we are coating the parts that are making the ventilators that are being shipped around the country. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we're also coating the parts that are making the pieces that go into some of the COVID home tests. So yeah, it's neat. I mean, it's food that we do food manufacturing, things like Lucky Charms and Legos and stuff like that are sticky. It's like Teflon pans, but industrial.
Does a Lego ever get accidentally in a Lucky Charm? Do they ever get mixed up? That would be probably very bad.
That would not be good, and I think there would definitely be a lawsuit for that. We don't want swallowing Legos.
I was thinking of this. I don't want to not do it. What is ASR Media? What does that stand for? I don't know.
Ashley Saunders Russo.
Oh, is that it?
Yep.
Well, because
we should come up with a story. It should be like.
Okay, but here's the story. I wanted to call it Popped Cork Media. Okay. I had a whole idea that it was going to be a cork popping out of a camera lens. I thought it'd be this cool logo. I kind of like to have a drink once in a while every day. And I just thought it would marry the two, and it looked fun and festive. And, we do a lot of event coverage. So I kind of had all that in my mind. Then I started playing around with names. Pick up the phone. You can see me talking now, and try to say to somebody, my email is ashley@poppedcorkmedia.com. All I heard in my head was me saying like, P as in Peter, O as in ostrich, P as in Peter.
I messed up with mine. It's Lehigh Valley with Love Media. That's the email. So when I tell people the email, it's like it's George at Lehigh Valley with Love Media, and it takes like 10 minutes. I have to figure that out.
No, the LVWL media might have been.
I could probably, I mean, it's
I think I nailed it with tyler.rothrock@gmail. I think
that's good.
That's the way to go.
Well, ASMR kind of sounds like that thing.
It's ASR.
ASMR is that thing.
ASMR, I can just do this for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that's what that is.
That gives me chills.
Yeah.
You could have ASMR Media, and you only do ads that are where you do stuff like that for your clients. I feel like
that would be so much easier, and I should have gone that route. Yeah, so it's not that inventive, but it works. And luckily, my name starts with an A, which is, I guess, always kind of good for searches and stuff like that. And it was easy to say and remember. So, yeah. But we were almost Popped Cork Media.
I like it.
It wouldn't have been bad, but I do agree. Not a lot of people have the foresight to think, because I didn't, how will this affect me, a couple years down the line?
Yeah, it's hard to see all that. Yeah, I probably would have named the Peak TV something different as well for that reason. We were kind of thinking like, get to the peak and do, this whole philosophical concept. And really it's like Lehigh Valley. So you went the right route, Lehigh Valley with love. That's good.
I guess we just name everything. We're like, this is the podcast, video, TV show. We don't even know.
Funny, I told my whole family, I'm like, listen, I'm about to do a podcast. Not my podcast. I'm a guest. Everybody go to your corners and don't move. And they were like, but it's a podcast. Why are you worrying about what's in the background?
Like, just don't worry about it. That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, you know what I'm talking about. So can you kind of run us through what you and your team have been through in the last, it's 47 days. I asked Alexa today.
Yeah, I've been saying 6 weeks. Yeah, we actually, I have to say, so first of all, we're pretty, like you guys, I think in this day and age in media, everybody's pretty equipped to work from home. So we've always had a very flexible policy. If somebody was working and editing on a big project, it was always like, take your computer, go home. If just sort of, I don't know, that's how we've always worked. We have crazy hours sometimes. So, you know, if you were doing like a late night shoot, it was like come in at 11. It's just been a very flexible environment always. So we were very easily moved to home. So the second we sort of saw this coming, it was actually March 11th was our last day in the office. And we all moved home and we kind of came up with a plan. We had 2 weeks worth of editing kind of in the can, as they say, that gave everybody on the team that could edit a project to edit. I guess a point to note is most of our team is pretty cross-trained, so people know how to film, they know how to edit, they know how to produce, they talk to clients, so that worked out pretty well. And then once we get to that point, me and one of my producers, Stephanie Metler, we kind of went into the mode of let's contact clients. We didn't contact anyone for 2 weeks. I felt like the world was like freaking out and we just needed to give people space. And then we just put out hey, we're kind of here for you. Just here's what ASR is doing. We're working from home. We went in, we had one person go in, Katie Santana, who is my director of photography. She's been with me since the beginning of the business. And she sanitized all the equipment at the office. We also had the whole office sanitized. Then she divided it into little piles. And everybody came at separate times and picked up, anyone who's able to film, picked up a camera on either a tripod or a Ronin. Everybody picked up, we divided up audio kits. So kind of divided up all the equipment and just had it ready. And then very quickly by week 3, we were pivoting pretty quickly with clients. We had a lot of clients who wanted to get messaging out. We were coming up with like creative ways with them on how to get their messaging out there. Some of it was selfie videos, some of it was luckily we had a huge, long, big, I guess, backlog of footage. You know, we've been saving footage for years and shooting footage for years that we were able to utilize during this time. And then if it was a nice day, we would say, hey, if it's a nice day and you have a camera, maybe go try to just get out of the house and capture something. It wasn't for a particular project so much as just to have it. So that was what we were doing. Now we found ourselves doing a lot of content creation for social media. Online events seem to be switching. I hosted my first online event last week for Wildlands Conservancy, and I just had a big meeting today about a big wine gala that's going to be in the fall, but online with like vintners from California. So I sort of love how inventive the world is getting. I love being part of that conversation. I'm pretty proud of my team and how resilient they've been. And we've used the time to like do a lot of education. So we've been doing twice a week lunch and learns where one person on the team learns something like LinkedIn learning or takes a class and then they teach it to everybody else over lunch. We've been doing happy hours and Zoom calls and trivia and who's most.
I love how, like, the communication, because that's fantastic. Like, I love everything that you said. Me and Tyler, it's like we're texting each other.
Do you guys want to come to our next game night? You want to come to our next drinking game night?
Well, yes. Now that you've got it,
what game is it? I'm not great at games in person. I'll probably.
There's a card game called Most Likely To, and it's a physical card game, but you can download an app. And what we did is we made note cards for every member of the team. So there's 10 of us, or I think we had 12 on the call. We work closely with social team marketing and PR. You guys know Tina Hasselbush and her team, and they rent office space from us, so we include them in a lot of that. Anyway, long story short is they say, who's most likely to, I don't know, go to jail? And you hold up the name. And whoever has the most cards is the person that then they win and get to take a drink.
I think that's very intoxicated at the end. If a lot of the questions are who's most likely to go to jail, probably
yeah, definitely. I would say play it with a bigger group.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might
We're
be
in.
trapped.
We'll do that.
Okay, good.
So how has it been? I mean, I saw that even when you talk about pivoting, you started kind of the way that we did. We were like, what do we do? We were in the middle of a TV show, and now this happens. How did you change it to doing online stuff, and what are you doing now? Like, what's the name of the program that you guys put out?
Okay, so we have had the Peak TV for like 8 years, and we've 150 something episodes in, and we kind of sat on it the first couple weeks, and by week 3 I felt the whole world sort of shift, at least our world. And I thought, we've been doing this program to get out good news about the Lehigh Valley. That's the whole purpose. It's our whole mission. We've been doing it for years. Why is this any different? So even though we weren't kind of live on the air and putting it in our season, which is set to debut in June, we came up with this idea of doing virtual in the Valley. And that's my house. You can see that's the reverse of the angle I'm sitting at right now, and filmed it on an iPhone. They did give me a Zoom recorder for better audio, but I abandoned ship on that because it was too much work with no crew. And we just started looking for good stories. We turned to our partners and our clients. We do a lot of work with United Way. We do a lot of work with St. Luke's. And it's funny, it's kind of like that. I think Mr. Rogers always says, look for the helpers, like in a crisis, look for the helpers. And the more we started to do that, the more stories were coming out of the woodworks. It just was unbelievable. And I know you guys do a lot of work with Bethlehem Area School District. We had Joe Roy on. So we've been trying to focus on different things. This coming Saturday, we are going to have something on music and the outdoors. So yeah, we just kind of been trying to share the good news in our region. I will tell you honestly, when John Krasinski did Some Good News, that's the light bulb for me. So we focused a decent amount of our energy in that, and it's been inventive. We've tried to do some of the interviews like this on Zoom and putting in B-roll and footage and just making them a little fancier than normal, like kind of what you're doing with screen sharing. We've had some stuff where we've had people send in selfie videos. We actually created some content that helped guide people, like have the window facing you, not the other way around. The basics, shoot horizontally. And then we've also been putting out a lot of team videos. So trying to blog a little bit more, talk a little bit more about why certain things in our industry matters. Like, why does a producer matter? Why does lighting matter?
Hal is not taking any notes. Not like you should be. All this stuff down.
It's funny. It's like, I feel some people don't want to pull back the curtain. And I feel like this whole situation is making us all sort of say, let's just do what we do, tell people how we do it. I personally think there'll always be a place for professional level video, but I love working with my partners and saying,
sure,
hey, you do this, we'll do that. Let's combine them in some way.
Let's talk. The reality of it here is we're in the same industry on whatever levels, and it doesn't matter. Like, we're here to help. And it's like, it's not, I don't know. I never really thought about it when I started, like how collaborative and helpful. Like, when you help me in the beginning, you're kind of like, is this person really want to work with me? Or are they trying to like sabotage my business?
Yeah.
And it wasn't that way. It's been a pleasure to work with other people who do similar stuff. And we've been learning so much. Like, everything that you just said, I'm like, yes, it's awesome.
I agree with you. And I think that, like, I really have tried, and our team has tried to build those relationships and collaborations, because it's funny, you see it in other industries, right? Like, really, we're all kind of in this club. We have this knowledge, we have the same kind of mission, and there'll be different types of clients that identify with different types of vendors, like in any other industry. I don't really know why certain are more, sometimes this one's a little more cutthroat, but I think in the Lehigh Valley, we actually have a pretty awesome video media community that supports each other. I know we share footage all the time. People share footage with us. We kind of collaborate. Oh, you're doing this cool story. Can we share that or work with someone? I think it was actually Marta Countess who said it once, and the Countesses are someone we work well with a lot, is if everybody in this region was using media, social media, video, and content to the extent they really need to be competitive in this market, in the marketplace, in the world of today, all of us would be like bursting at the seams, because there's not enough work to go around. I mean, there's not enough people to do the work that would need to go around. So I think it's cool. I love it. I so appreciate it. It's been great.
There's no endless, there's no limited, like, content isn't a finite resource, right? Like, so
I don't think we barely even scratched the surface on Lehigh Valley content. Like, it's
something in your brain, like, everybody can make a thing, right? And like something that we might, I mean, even me and George, like under the same thing, we think completely differently. So it's something that I'll think of, he'll never think of, and vice versa. So, and like, so there's no real, there can be the more content, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. And it kind of like shows people the need for content also. So I think this time has been really important and significant in that. I actually feel like all of us are going to see a big shift in mindset moving forward with a lot of companies and nonprofits for the need to have regular content.
What do you mean shift towards, you think there's, that was kind of my next question. Like, you think there's going to be a shift towards, maybe away from some of the more conventional ways that people get content, and also, well, that, like, what's going to be the shift, do you think? Like basically to get, like, people are going to watch their shows. People are going to do, have their more conventional ways.
I think too, she said it too, like on the business owner side too, right?
Yeah. Well, you need the consumer is the only one that matters.
You're right. No, you're right.
So do you think that's going to change after this, how people get their content? Knowing that, like,
yeah, I mean, I think it's just exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of going to almost amplify what we were seeing happen sort of since 2018. I think 2018 was a turning point, and we started to see more people consuming online, more people using things like Instagram and Twitter as a way of getting their news sources and then digging a little deeper. We know that that's been happening, but I think what it's doing is it's actually catching up the older generations. So I think it's catching up, and people are having to learn and realizing, like, maybe this isn't so scary or dangerous or whatever the perception is, and there are ways to consume. On the flip side, I also think that we are kind of seeing a little bit of a resurgence where people are turning on the comfort of, say, their local news station. I know that their numbers are really, really high, and I think that there's something around the sense of familiarity and comfort through a time like this too. I think what we're just going to see is an expansion, kind of that room for everything. And the idea that, like George is saying, on the business owner side, people are realizing, businesses are realizing that their messaging can be conveyed in a wide variety of ways. And the reality is, to do that properly, it's almost, well, you guys know this really well. We know this really well. It's a science now. I mean, the art of and the science of social media and SEO is really meeting, and that's its own industry now. It's no longer, you guys were way ahead of the curve on this, but now I think the world will catch up to it.
Well, yeah, and
we're going to keep going.
Totally.
Did you see my commercial for Molly's we did? I found some European stock footage, and we just dubbed over their family deals on it, and it worked. It was actually very unsettling, and but it did its job. And that's the beauty of it. It's so weird. Like, there's so many, like, we've been taking chances now and trying new things that we definitely would not have tried.
Us too.
I think it's a more direct path to somebody that you can reach, right? Like, somebody interested. Like, we talk a lot about, like them or hate them, Barstool Sports has, like, figured out their perfect audience, right? And like that guy, what's his name? Dave Portnoy, whatever.
Here they come.
He'll unbox things, and companies will send him things, and he'll get, like, direct.
Yeah, it's amazing. Have you seen that? They're mailing stuff to Dave Portnoy's, and my wife and I watch it on Facebook Watch, the app, on our Apple TV. Like, it's so weird. You don't even think about watching cable sometimes, or if I do, it's so interchangeable how I can consume the media.
Direct access to the consumer. Like, a pizza place sends a pizza, he eats it, I like it. Right? Like, well,
actually, if you think about it, it's actually almost a cyclical thing. It's almost back to, like, the old school days of advertising and marketing. My husband and I are rewatching Mad Men. We watched it when it came out, and we've been rewatching it during all this. And it's fascinating to watch. Like, there's a whole episode on Heineken and how their whole strategy was that they took, the advertisers took a whole bunch of the Heineken boxes and put them as, like, little specialty small displays that looked like this special thing from Holland to advertise directly to, like, the suburban housewives in, like, Connecticut. And it like exploded. Now I don't know if that's a true story or not on Mad Men. A lot of their stuff.
I like it though. I'm gonna pretend it's true if it's not.
It's true, but it's kind of cool. And you think about it, that's exactly what they were doing in the origination of the advertising age before even TV came around. And now aren't we kind of going back to that mode? We're looking at curbside pickup and who ate this and where did it come from? And oh, this one and now we've got AI advertising to me. I mean, I've gotten more stuff off of Instagram and Facebook in the last few weeks because
and
it's listening to me. It knows what I want.
Well, like, a company like Pepsi doesn't have to spend millions on an advertising budget because they could just seek out an influencer that, and then just send them the stuff.
That's right. They TikTok with a Pepsi.
Yeah.
It's my latest TikTok.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I mean, see, Tyler refuses to get on.
I can't
TikTok.
do TikTok. That's not gonna.
I have a 15-year-old daughter, so if she is so kind as to allow me to make an appearance and embarrass her on a TikTok, I'm right there.
I can't wait like that. I can't wait till that. I'm not rushing to get there, but I can't wait till I get to that point in my life where my daughter is embarrassed of me. Because it's like
that'll happen.
She has no clue.
Well, Your
That's a guarantee, George. I'm sorry in advance, but it's a guarantee of human nature. It happens.
Actually, I'll take your daughter's TikTok class if she's going to teach one. You need to learn.
That's a good one, right?
That's a funny idea. There's no way. I don't have a teenager at home. You should do that where like she just gives like tips to old people on how to do TikTok. And it's like very condescending.
Yeah, I saw one of Reese Witherspoon with her son who's about that age, and he was teaching her like the new handshakes and the way kids today, and she was doing it, and he was like so disappointed in her. And it was great because, everyone's like my age, we like love Reese Witherspoon, and there she was just being cut down, and her kid telling her she's dumb, and
yeah.
She's like, hey, it's like me.
Yeah.
Her kid hates her too.
Exactly.
But that's the one thing about branding that I think is what I'm to tell more is to show how we always talk to clients and like, well, if I put up this ad X, does that get me all of this? Why? Like, how do I see the return on investment when it's just like, hey, you need to have that branding out there because I bring up Molly's because we have so much fun with that brand. People know them for it. They know them for having a good time. And all that. And I think we're going to see more of that where even the smaller businesses they're really focusing on branding.
Yeah, I agree. And I also think that there's this concept, especially in the Lehigh Valley, where we have a really like philanthropic community. Like everybody gives back here. We care about our community. Nonprofits really matter, both from what they do, but also the way they brand themselves and the way other people interact here through that. And so I think that we're seeing more and more of that, like how many people have stepped up to like be a part of things, whether they're like making masks at home or, putting together meals or they're donating to a meal to go to a frontline worker or something like that. So I think that's another kind of cool opportunity, is a way that nonprofits are branding themselves almost inadvertently, just because of the community stepping up to help them. So yeah, I think we've only scratched the surface of what this is going to change for our whole industry.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I don't mean to cut. This is the first time this has happened. We have an interview that we have to get to in like a couple minutes.
Of course.
Let's plan to do something bigger than this. Maybe we can get a game.
Play the game then.
Yeah, we'll do that. So we'll get into it. So we always ask everybody, can you give us an idea of how people can get in touch or find out more information? So let us know.
Absolutely. Okay, so you can always reach us at info@thepeaktv.com or info@asrmediaproductions.com, both of our websites. You can find us on all the usual stuff, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can find me, Ashley Russo, on LinkedIn. I always say I'm really hard to avoid. So if you want to find us, you can. Really, honestly, if people ever have a great story of hope and inspiration, positivity, we're always looking to share that kind of thing, and love to hear from people about that. So
it's funny that I know you say that about yourself, but a lot of people say that about George, that he's very hard to avoid. And
yeah, they keep like, I've unfollowed you here, and you're still popping up.
I love it. Well, I love everything you put out, so I'm glad that you're hard to avoid, because we're always happy to see what you're doing and support it, hopefully, and work together. So thank you guys for having me. This was fun.
Thank you. We'll circle back around and do something fun.
All right, I like it. I like the game
Combined
idea.
powers.
Maybe we'll get some key people and play the game. And
My,
then
we need to get, my wife needs, like, I keep telling her, like, if you can do a Zoom, she's like, no, it's okay. I'm like, I need to get her to have some fun. So I want her to come in.
You're in. I'm going to book it.
Cool.
All right. I'm going to tell her right now. She's going to be so mad. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Sounds good. Be well. Bye.